Good morning, students. In the last classes we have seen the productions. We have started the productions. What are the productions? We have started your productions like your citric acid. Your next one is we have completed lactic acid, and we have also completed L-glutamic acid. That means two acids we have completed, that is lactic acid and citric acid. Now we have started your amino acids, that is L-glutamic acid already we have completed. Today we are going to see another amino acid, that is your L-aspartic acid. Okay. Now see here, that means we have entered into the productions, that is your third unit. Now coming to the what is aspartic acid. Let us see what is aspartic acid. Aspartic acid is nothing but it is an amino acid. All of you know that this is an amino acid. What is this amino acid? It is an alpha amino acid. Just like glycine, it is an alpha amino acid. First one. Second one, it consists of 4 carbons. It is a 4 carbon containing alpha amino acid. Next thing, it is a non-essential amino acid. It is a non-essential amino acid. What is the meaning of essential and non-essential? Already you must have completed this in your second sem or third sem, I don't remember so, but it is a non-essential. What is essential amino acid? Amino acids are classified into essential and non-essential. Essential amino acids are the amino acids. They are not synthesized in our body, so we have to depend on these amino acids by means of food. That means when you are intaking food, from the food itself, these amino acids are entering into our body. Such type of amino acids which are not synthesized in our body, which are essential but they cannot be synthesized in our body, they are called as essential amino acids. They can be they can enter into our body through the food. Next, coming to the non-essential amino acids, our L-aspartic acid is a non-essential amino acid. These non-essential amino acids are the amino acids. They are not at all essential. They are synthesized within our body, though there is no need of uptake of non-essential amino acids into our body. But in some people, these, though they are non-essential, they can be synthesized in our body. These amino acids, sometimes they are not synthesized properly in the body of an organism because of his health conditions. Then they should be given in the form of tablet or food. So they are non-essential amino acids. They are certainly synthesized in our body. Our body has the capacity to synthesize these non-essential amino acids. This non-essential amino acid, that is your L-aspartic acid. But sometimes if they cannot synthesize it because of some health conditions of that particular person, individual person, then they should be given in the form of food. But actually they are non-essential, they can be synthesized in our body. There is no need to uptake them in the form of food or diet. Food. Now this is a L-aspartic acid, is a 4 carbon alpha amino acid. It is a non-essential amino acid. It is used in food and pharmaceutical industry. It is used in food and pharmaceutical industry. Then this, as it is used in food and pharmaceutical industry, then why it is used? Because this L-aspartic acid, this is a component of a special substance called as aspartase. See here, this is a component. L-aspartic acid is a component of a substance called aspartame, and this aspartame, or in some books it is written as aspartome, and this aspartame is an artificial sweetener. It is a synthetic or artificial sweetener that is useful in both food and pharmaceutical industries. And this L-aspartic acid is a component of aspartame, so it is used as an artificial sweetener in making your food industry, that is the food products, sweetening of the food products. Not only that, in pharmaceutical industry, in the sweetening of your drugs. in your cough syrups, everything they will be added. In some of the tablets also they are added, because they are very very bitter. Some tablets are very bitter, and for reducing their bitterness, this L-aspartic acid is added, just like your aspartame. Instead of aspartame, this L-aspartic acid is used both in food and pharmaceutical industry. Is it okay? Now, this production of this L-aspartic acid, it is an enzymatic method. See here, till now we have not added any type of enzymes. For the production of lactic acid, we have not added any enzymes. Simply we have used the culture medium. Along with culture medium, we have added your microorganism. In glutamic acid, in your citric acid also, we have added all the nutrients, along with we have maintained the pH temperature, we have added all the media nutrients. To that we have added only the microorganism. In glutamic acid also we have added all the nutrients, along with that we have added microorganism. But here it is an enzymatic method. See here, it is an enzymatic method of fermentation. What you have to do is, in this enzymatic method of fermentation, you have to use an enzyme called aspartase. That means it is an enzyme catalyzed reaction. In this reaction, aspartase is the enzyme that catalyzes the reaction and helps in the production of your aspartic acid. Here actually what happens is, your ammonia plus your fumaric acid or you can call it as fumarate, it gives rise to aspartase enzyme, gives rise to L-aspartic acid. That means the enzyme that is used is aspartase enzyme. In the presence of ammonia and fumaric acid substrates, aspartase enzyme catalyzes the reaction and helps in the production of L-aspartic acid. But this reaction is a reversible reaction. That means if you are not collecting L-aspartic acid in correct time, then immediately L-aspartic acid again splits into ammonia and fumaric acid. So you should be very very careful, and you have to collect the L-aspartic acid when it is produced. Immediately after its production you have to collect it. If not, the aspartase enzyme catalyzes the reaction, and this L-aspartic acid is again converted into fumaric acid and ammonia. Okay. Now, so this is an enzymatic method or enzymatic production of your aspartase enzyme. L-aspartic acid is an enzymatic fermentation process. In this, enzyme aspartase helps in this reaction. Next one, this aspartic acid production is a costly affair. It is an expensive process, or it is a costly process or costly fermentation process. In this, what happens is, why? Because see, when you are using this aspartic acid, it is a costly enzyme. Aspartase enzyme is a costly enzyme. When you are using that aspartase enzyme, generally per 1 kg of aspartase enzyme, you can produce, see here, 2,20,000 kgs of L-aspartic acid. See here, 1 kg of aspartase gives rise to 2,20,000 kgs of L-aspartic acid. But this L-aspartase enzyme is very very costly. Next one, it is unstable. It is, the other character is, it is unstable. Though it helps in the production of L-aspartic acid in large amounts, when you are using only 1 kg of aspartase enzyme, small amount of aspartase enzyme, you are getting large amount, that is 2,20,000 delta kgs of lactic acid, L-aspartic acid is produced. This enzyme is unstable. Because of its instability, the enzyme aspartase is surrounded by a chemical called as polyacrylamide. What is this polyacrylamide? This polyacrylamide is just like your agarose or agar or agarose, which helps in surrounding the aspartase enzyme, so that the enzyme gets immobilized. The enzyme gets immobilized. That means its mobility is stopped. ఇట్ బికమ్స్, అంటే మనం ఇట్లా స్టాచ్యూ అనగానే ఇట్లా ఆగిపోతాం చూడండి, అట్లనే దీని మొబిలిటీని స్టాచ్యూ చేసి ఆస్పర్టేజ్ ఎంజైమ్ చుట్టూ మనం అగారోజ్, అంటే ఎట్లా అంటే ఆలు బోండాలో ఆలు లోపల ఉండి పైనంతా శనగపిండి ఉన్నట్టు, మిర్చి బజ్జీలో మిర్చి తింటాం కదా మనం, ఏదైనా ఫంక్షన్స్ అయితే మిర్చి బజ్జీలు తింటాం కదా, ఆ మిర్చి బజ్జీల్లో ఉన్నట్టు మిర్చి లోపల ఉండి పైనంతా శనగపిండి ఉన్నట్టు, అట్లా దీనిలో ఆస్పర్టేజ్ ఎంజైమ్ చుట్టూ పాలిఎక్రిలామైడ్ అనేది వేసి ఆస్పర్టేజ్ ఎంజైమ్ని మనము ఇట్స్ మొబిలిటీ ఈజ్ స్టాప్డ్, ఇట్స్ మూమెంట్ ఈజ్ స్టాప్డ్, సో ఇట్ ఈస్ నోన్ యాజ్ ఇమ్మొబిలైజేషన్. Why we are doing immobilization with polyacrylamide? This, why the aspartase enzyme is immobilized with polyacrylamide? Because it is unstable. Okay, next one. This aspartase enzyme, it is present for the production of aspartic acid. What is the microorganism is used? That is E. coli. All of you know Escherichia coli. This E. coli is the microorganism that consists of aspartase enzyme. So entire E. coli cell is immobilized. E. coli cells are taken and these E. coli cells are immobilized because these E. coli cells synthesize your aspartase enzyme. So the E. coli cells extract aspartase enzyme. So the entire E. coli cell is immobilized in with polyacrylamide gel and it is loaded into the fermenter for the production of your L-aspartic acid. Okay. Now this aspartase enzyme, it consists of, its molecular weight is 1,90,000 Daltons. Aspartase enzyme is 1,90,000, has a molecular, aspartase enzyme has a molecular weight of 1,96,000 Daltons. And not only that, this L-aspartase, it has divalent cations. That means it consists of 2 cations and its molecular weight ranges from, its molecular weight, aspartase enzyme molecular weight is 1,96,000 Daltons with a divalent cations. That means 2 cations are present. Okay. Now this aspartase enzyme is responsible for the production of aspartic acid. Coming to this next, how this is produced, aspartic acid, how aspartic acid is produced. See here, it is a fermentation process. Already I told you it is a fermentation process. In this horizontal hollow fiber filter fermentation process is used. అదేంటో నేను చెప్తాను. See here, what you will be doing is, you will be doing, taking ammonia. How much ammonia you have to take? 1 molar ammonia is taken. To this you have to add fumaric acid, or you can call it as a fumarate. You have to take fumaric acid. Next, to this you have to add 1 micromolar magnesium ions because they help in the activity of the reaction, that is they help in the activity of ammonia. Next, you have to use an enzyme called as aspartase. As it is, I am drawing like this, it is a reversible reaction. Now it helps in the synthesis of your aspartic acid, and here this aspartase is nothing but E. coli cells are immobilized in polyacrylamide consisting of, they can extract aspartase enzyme and they are loaded into the fermenter. Which type of fermenter you are taking? Hollow tubular horizontal fermenter, this one. See here, horizontal fibers, that is horizontal tubular fermenter is used. See here, this is first tube, this is second tube, this is third tube. Horizontal tubular or horizontal hollow fiber fermenter is used. Here it consists of like this. This is your fermenter. Already we have discussed this. See here, this is the inlet through which you will be releasing the medium, consisting of your as E. coli cells, immobilized E. coli cells with your carbon source, nitrogen source, ammonia, fumaric acid, everything you are releasing it. Why you are using ammonia? Because it is an amino acid. అదే గ్లూటమిక్ యాసిడ్ ఎల్ గ్లూటమిక్ యాసిడ్ ప్రొడక్షన్లో యూ హ్యావ్ ఇంటర్మిటెంట్లీ యాడెడ్ యూరియా. It is also an ammonia compound. Here you will be adding ammonia directly. 1 molar ammonia is used in the culture medium, and then when you are releasing it along with E. coli cells, all of them they enter into this, see here, enter into these tubes. Then between these tubes, what is there? Between these tubes your water will be flowing. See here, water will be flowing between these tubes. Now see here, all these are mixed and pH is checked to adjusted to 8.5, and the temperature is maintained to, see here, and the temperature is maintained to 37 degrees centigrade. Temperature is 37 degrees centigrade, pH is 8.5, and the time is 48 hours. Just like your L-glutamic acid production, 40 to 42, 44, 48 hours. Here also it is 48 hours, that is you can call it as 2 days. Okay, 2 days. Now allow it to flow. When it is flowing through this, the ammonia, fumaric acid in the presence of magnesium ions and in the presence of immobilized E. coli cells, these E. coli cells they can extract, they can help in the production of enzyme aspartase, and this reaction, entire reaction is a exothermic reaction, or you can call it as exergonic reaction. What is exergonic reaction? That means that releases heat, out. So when it is releasing heat in the tubes, ఇక చూడండి అమ్మ, ఈ ట్యూబ్స్లోంచి వెళ్తున్నప్పుడు అది హీట్ బయటికి ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేసింది. హీట్ బయటకు ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేస్తే ది టెంపరేచర్ విల్ చేంజ్ టు 37 to it reaches to 50 degrees. When it is reaching 50 degrees, immediately at 50 higher temperatures, the enzymes they get denatured. That means the aspartase enzyme gets damaged. When aspartase enzyme is getting damaged, then what happens? The reaction won't go forward. For that reason, the temperature should be maintained 37 only, because E. coli cells can live only at 37 degrees centigrade. It's for E. coli cells, 37 degrees centigrade is the optimum temperature, or the optimum temperature for the growth of E. coli cells is 37 degrees centigrade. So you have to maintain 37 degrees centigrade only. That is the reason I wrote here temperature should be 37 degrees centigrade. Now when it is producing heat outside, cool water will be flowing in between the horizontal tubes. When it is flowing through the horizontal tubes, immediately what it will do is, this will reduce the temperature again. If exergonic reaction is taking place and heat is released out, immediately it reduces the temperature with the flow of your cold water, that is circulating water. Cold circulating water will be flowing in between the hollow fibers, horizontal fibers, and this medium or the reaction mixture gets cooled, and it is maintained at 37. It is maintained to 37 degrees centigrade. Immediately within 2 days, the reaction will be completed, and it produces L-aspartic acid. That means through the outlet you will be collecting L-aspartic acid. L-aspartic acid is collected. Once it is released, immediately it should be collected. If not, again the reaction, as it is a reversible reaction, it will go back and again with the help of enzyme, aspartase enzyme catalyzes the reaction, and L-aspartic acid is again converted to fumaric acid and ammonia. Not to allow it, our aim is to go for the synthesis or production of L-aspartic acid. Through the outlet it is collected. Next, once it is collected, చూడండి, L-aspartic acid is collected, it is washed. What is washed? It is washed. After washing, that is centrifugation, this L-aspartic acid is taken and it is loaded on ion exchange columns, so that it gets purified. Okay, it gets purified. Once it gets purified, it is sent in through, see here, it is placed in vacuum. What is vacuum? For dewatering and extra purification and making it into crystalline or powdery form, you have to place it in vacuum. When you are placing it in vacuum, I told you three methods are there. One is vacuum drying, spray drying, freeze drying. Freeze drying means all of you know that it is lyophilization. Spray drying is there, you will be allowing the material to get exposed to 150 to 250 degrees centigrade. Hot air will be blowing through on your compound. Next is heat vacuum drying means in presence of in a dry condition, you will be allowing the material to get dried in vacuum. So of all the three methods, spray drying is a rapid method spray drying helps in rapid dewatering of your sample, so that the handling problem, transport problem and storage problem are solved when the dewatering is done and the purified compound is kept under vacuum. Immediately the compound here dewatering takes place and it will become just like you can handle it, you can transport it and you can storage it. Handling, transport and storage, all the three can be solved by it is converted into crystalline form. It becomes crystalline and this crystalline form is marketed. Okay. Here the crystalline form is marketed. I am not using any type of thing that is molasses add chestunana, carbon source, nitrogen source. I am not talking about anything. Simply you will be adding ammonia, 1 molar ammonia plus fumaric acid or fumarate you can call it, plus 1 micromolar magnesium ions for the activation, and next immobilized E. coli cells that help in the extraction of aspartase enzyme, and this aspartase enzyme helps in the synthesis of L-aspartic acid in a horizontal hollow fiber fermenter, and it is collected, and after collecting it is washed to remove the impurities by centrifugation, and this L-aspartic acid is loaded on ion exchange columns for purification, and the purified compound is taken and it is kept under vacuum, and once it is kept under vacuum, immediately dewatering is done and it is converted into crystalline form. Pure crystalline form of L-aspartic acid is marketed to the consumers. This is the production of your L-aspartic acid. Now coming to the application or significance of L-aspartic acid. When you are following this method and producing this, the production method, it is very fast. Within 2 days you will get the product. Next one, it will not allow impurities to stay, because we are going for centrifugation and ion exchange. Less amount of impurity is present, so they can be easily separated. Next one, this coming to the applications of L-aspartic acid, it is used as a protein food. It is used as first one is it is used as a protein food. Second one, it is used in food industry as an artificial sweetener. It is used in the food industry as an artificial sweetener for our food products, or that is packaged food. Coming to the third one, this is used in beverage and cool drinks industry. See here, in beverage and cool drinks industry, in beverages and cool drinks industry it is used as an artificial sweetener. That means food industry lo 3 cheppanu nenu: protein food artificial sweetener, next beverages and cool drinks lo use chestamu. In fourth one, in pharmaceutical industry it is used in the preparation of medicines. In the manufacture or in the production of medicines or in the synthesis of medicines, to reduce the bitterness of the drug, you are using this artificial sweetener L-aspartic acid. These are the things already we have discussed at the starting of our L-aspartic acid introduction. We have seen all these during your introduction. Now coming to the other things. This L-aspartic acid, it is used in your body, that is in males. See here, in males it helps in production of testosterone. Okay, hormone testosterone is produced in males. Next, in females it helps in menstrual cycle. That means it helps in the regulation of menstrual cycle and it also helps in ovulation. See here, in males this enzyme helps, that is this L-aspartic acid helps in testosterone production of testosterone in males and regulation of menstrual cycle and ovulation in females. Next, this helps in the production of antibodies. Aspartic acid helps in the production of antibodies. చూడండి ఒక్కొక్కటి ఇక్కడ రాస్తున్నాను. Next, see here, it helps in the production of antibodies and also plays an important role in your immunity. That is, it helps in immunity. Next one, this L-aspartic acid is used to regulate the brain. So it activates the brain, so it leads to memory. Okay, it helps in memory. Next, see here. Okay, now see here, it helps in testosterone production in males. 2 minutes. Next, it helps in regulating the menstrual cycle. Next, it helps in ovulation. It helps in the production of antibodies. It helps as a in brain, it activates the brain cells and helps in memory, and also it activates the metabolic activities. It helps in metabolic activities of the cell. It activates the metabolic activities, that is reproduction, respiration. Next, if it is plants, photosynthesis, excretion, all these processes are done, activated by this thing. Next, this also helps in DNA and RNA synthesis. What is DNA and RNA synthesis? That is, nucleic acids are synthesized with the help of this L-aspartic acid. So L-aspartic acid is an essential amino acid, that is, it is a non-essential amino acid. It helps in the production of all these. These are the applications of L-aspartic acid. So today we will stop here, and in the next class we will continue with the next production. Thank you, students.